anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing because it's being recorded. If you're on a touch tone phone, this doesn't apply to you, but everyone else, the meeting, it just pressed record. You need to press the got it button. So you need to tab to it and press got it. It might say okay, but you need to tab to it and press that. If you're on a smart device, then you swipe right until you hear got it or okay and double tap. Otherwise, I'll be telling you about how to mute and unmute, etc., and you won't be able to do it because unless you've acknowledged that recording is being done. But as I said, on a touch tone phone, you don't need to bother. It might say it's being recorded, but you don't need to do anything about it. So, recap basic keystrokes. Any Zoom session you're in, with a webinar, if it's being recorded, if you enter a webinar, you don't actually have to do anything about it, whatever device you're on. In a Zoom meeting room, which is what this is, then you do need to. The keystrokes will be largely the same for whether you're in a meeting or a webinar. On smart devices, it is slightly different. And just as another caveat, I suppose, for the session is that I'm not covering standalone Braille devices. I'm just covering Windows PC, Mac, and tablet. But when I say tablet, I'm not talking about the Braille notes and things because they work slightly differently, even though they're on an Android system. So Apple/Android and touchtone phone. But with things like share screen, you can't really do that on a touchtone phone because there is no screen. Anyway, basic keystrokes. These are toggle functions, so pressing a keystroke to turn something on will also turn it off. So raising or lowering your hand is Alt-A on a Windows PC. It is Command-Shift-A on a Mac. It is *6 on a touchtone phone, and it is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen on a smart device. Raising or lowering your hand, so Alt-A was on unmuting yourself. Raising or lowering your hand is Alt-Y on a Windows PC, Options-Y on a Mac, *9 on a touchtone phone, bottom right-hand corner on a smart device. If it's not on the main screen on a smart device, it will be under reactions. So you swipe right to reactions, double tap on that, and swipe right to raise hand. Raise hand tends to be the first in a long list of things. If you go past it to clapping hands or something, you're on emojis. And then pressing raised hand by double tapping or whatever the function is will take you back to the main screen. You don't have to exit that reactions menu. Turning the video off and on is Alt-V on a computer, Command-Shift-V on a Mac. Touchtone phone doesn't really apply. And video is to the left of mute and unmute on a smart device. If it's not the immediate left, then it's the immediate right. But Zoom does change its mind about the composition of things in terms of screen region. So they are the basic keystrokes. If anyone wants to play with that or just double check something, do that now before I move on to the chat. No, okay. Right, so chat is Alt-H on a computer. Can't really participate in it on a touchtone phone. And the chat is to the right of sort of leave, video, and mute, and all of those things on a smart device. So you double tap that to get to the text. I'm going to refer back to computers to explain how the chat works because it's largely the same. So you don't have to use Alt-H or Command-Shift-H to get to the chat on a computer/Mac. You can tab to the different functions, and all what I said about muting and raise hand and turning your video off and on if for the sake of argument you've forgotten a keystroke, you can tab to those functions or swipe if you're on a smart device. Now, the exception is the touch tone phones, because I know we've got at least one phone number here tonight where you do actually need to know the keystrokes. When you enter the meeting, the phone system will have told you which keystrokes do what, but it's just remember, I think of 9Y as in raising your hand is *9 and six voice, 9Y. That's my maxim for it. May or may not work for you. But anyway, the rest of us can tab to different things if we've forgotten them. So if you want to get to the chat function, you tab to the chat, and it won't read chat to you unless you have opened it. But even if you close the chat panel, which you can do by pressing escape once you've said what you wanted to say or whatever, you will still get messages from it, because we were going to talk about, and I forgot to say in my little summary earlier, dealing with interruptions from the chat. There is no real workaround from that. I mean, people have done drastic things by either turning their speech off or reducing the output, so speech on demand kind of thing. You can go into Zoom settings in your account and switch off notifications, but then you won't know anything about what's going on, as in people coming and going and whether your hand is raised and all those kinds of things. So think carefully, I suppose, whether you want to use the chat. It is a very useful function, especially if it's in a webinar situation and people aren't being given the opportunity to speak, but it's just the chat function, as in put your questions in the chat or the Q&A. So before I go down another rabbit hole, just that you guys play with the chat in here before then talking about the difference between webinar and meeting chat. So it's Alt-H, Command-Shift-H, or Tab to Chat. You press Enter on that. That will take you into a text box immediately. And if you are writing something, then you would write it there. Pressing Enter sends the message. It doesn't give you a blank line. So you're best off just writing a long scroll of whatever it is you want to say before pressing Enter to send it. In the chat function, it will default to sending a message to everyone present. So if you are wanting to say something to a specific person, the host, the facilitator, or your best friend, then you need to tab again before you've pressed enter. So I'm writing my theoretical message. I'm pressing tab to the drop-down menu, which is defaulting to everyone. You need to arrow up and down that menu to find the person you want. So it's helpful if you know the name of the person you want to send this message to, and then activating that, either pressing enter or spacebar will also do that, and then shift tab to your message and press enter, which will then send it. And your speech program, whichever it is, whether it's JAWS, NVDA, VoiceOver, whatever, will confirm that it's been sent and to whom it has been sent. And if as we were unmuted earlier on and people are sending things, people will probably hear their own message echo back to them. Now, in a group where it's sighted people, obviously you won't. So with chat, that is in a Zoom meeting. I want to talk about webinar now, because there are various things that we might go to, either whether it's visual impairment themed sessions or ordinary ones with just other sighted people and we're the only blind person present. With webinar, sometimes they will have a chat function like the one I've described, and at other times they will have two options. They will have a chat and they will have a Q&A. The chat will function how I described it earlier on. The Q&A is slightly different. You won't necessarily be able to choose who you write to, and you will have to contend with the questions being in the same space as your edit field. If you are in a Q&A on a webinar, and a lot of the time in webinars, they will ask you to put certain things in the Q&A, as in questions, be questions and answers and things. and chit chat, as in what's the weather like, where are you from, and all of that, in the chat. The Q&A functions similarly to the chat in the sense that unless you open it, you won't hear questions. But then once you open it, even if you closed it again, you will still hear questions being asked. And that will potentially overshadow the person actually speaking. So we'll come back to that in a moment because it's to do with the ducking feature that you have set on your speech program. So with the Q&A, as I said, the questions will be in a list and you will need to find the edit field. You won't automatically be put in it like the chat. You're automatically in the edit field if you open it and you can just write. But with Q&A, especially if there are questions already there, if you're first to write there, then there won't be anything. But if other people have already asked questions and things, then you will need to find the edit field and it will be constantly refreshing depending on how big the meeting is. And we did get your chest out, Robin. Thank you very much. So yeah, it works. As I said, in a Q&A, it will be constantly refreshing because people will be writing things all the time. So you might start in the edit field and then end up being taken out of it because other people have written stuff. So you do need to exercise a modicum of patience and find the rhythm of the webinar you are in, because there'll be moments where people will be given opportunities to write their questions and everyone will be doing it. I suggest you do it at a quiet time so that you're left in peace with your edit field and you can just press enter on it. Now, the upside downside is that with some webinars, they'll only answer the questions with the most votes. And so if your question is too far down the list, it may not get answered. But that is a whole other issue. And we're literally just... Thanks, Catherine. I would ask that people not write much until I actually give a gap, because I have to like keep stopping and things. And I've lost my thread now. But yeah, thank you for telling me that this is helpful. I think I was talking about webinar, wasn't I? Please help me out here.
You were. You're saying the difference between the difference between webinar and this kind of chat room.
That's what I was saying in the Q&A. So yeah, people upvote questions in some of these things. So I'm talking about really big sessions. Ours feels big, but I'm talking about the 50 to 100 to 100 plus people. And I've been in those where it's hundreds of people. And it's quite painful being a blind person in that situation. I mean, I'm laughing even though it's not very funny at the time because there's a lot of refreshing screens and all these kinds of things. But putting your question in a quiet moment will help, because then it won't be refreshing as much. Some people will still be writing. And as I said, your question may or may not be voted for, but it will be in there somewhere. And sometimes facilitators will stay on beyond the session. We won't be, but in big sessions like that, sometimes if it's an hour and a half, they might stay on and just keep answering questions, or they'll have a break time and somebody will answer the questions. What I found with those is the answer will flash up. So if you're reflexively pressing your control key to stop the questions being played out over the top of whoever speaking, and then all of a sudden actually there was an answer to your question, you've pressed the control key to shut it up, it's very hard to find it again. So just be mindful to listen to a bit of each entrant into your speech feed. So that is Q&A in a webinar. Versus chat in a webinar, which is similar to the chat space in here. And I'd like to applaud the brave people who have put in chat and had a go at it and how to play with it. So anyone else who would like to do that now, I'm going to leave the gap before tackling scheduling, which is a thing. So Alt-8 or tab to it, whatever you'd like to do. Or if you're on a smart device, then swipe to chat. And it will say chat. I don't care what your speech program is, it will say it. No one wants to do it now. Right, that's hilarious. Got your hello from TAVIP. Yeah, and has been sent to test message, which we all got.
1950.
So I'm testing my iPhone because I want to make sure that everyone can hear it.
January 7th, 1951.
Right, I'm taking it for granted everyone can actually hear that. That's my iPhone.
That was clear. That was
And
clear,
it's
Sandra.
good. It's infuriatingly slow for me so that everyone, regardless of what speed people like their speech program tipple at, can actually follow this. Because I'm going to attempt a scheduling on my iPhone so you can hear what the functions sound like and what I need to do it. I find it a lot easier on the iPhone than the computer. Shut your face. I mean that as nice as possible. I find it easier on the iPhone than the computer because the computer Zoom function, I do use the computer function to start Zoom rooms and copy invitations and so on. But for scheduling the meeting, I just find it very fiddly, but not impossible. And I can't really do it for you on the computer today because I'm on the computer in a Zoom meeting already. And before I get going, I just want to stress, because I said this last time, but I'll say it again, you do need to have a Zoom account, paid or free, but you do need to have one before being able to schedule and
You
do
just dropped out,
exciting
Sandra.
things.
At the crucial moment, you dropped out. So can you just say that again? You something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I said you do need to have a Zoom account before you're able to schedule things. So it doesn't matter if it's a paid one or a free one. You do need to have an actual account and sign up for it and have a password. And if anyone needs assistance with that, we can tackle that in the Q&A. But you can't schedule a meeting without having an account to schedule it with. So there is a logic there. It's not Zoom being completely horrible. There, it makes perfect sense. So I'm going to attempt to schedule now, and assuming that everyone is comfortable with getting an account. So
Notebook. Zoom.
I'm going to enter the Zoom app.
Zoom. Meeting. Alert. Zoom would like full access to your calendar.
So Zoom would like full access to my calendar. I'm going to just... Right. So I'm in Zoom. The heading is meetings. So Zoom is in a number of headings and tabs. So I'm in meetings. There is a chat function within Zoom, not to be confused with chats in an actual meeting, but it is where you can have chats with people without being in an actual meeting. Teams has something similar, and I'm not even going to go there, but just notice that they call them the same sorts of things. But that is synced to a calendar and all sorts.
Personal meeting ID.
So the next heading is personal meeting ID, and it's a button. So if you have a Zoom account, you will have a meeting ID that you can choose to use for all your meetings, and it'll be the same thing all the time. And I suggest making it a little bit more complicated than 1, 2, 3, 4, which is one that I know from somebody else, because people do get scared of Zoom bombers and various other things. And so an ID is just an extra layer of security. So when we came into this Zoom meeting, all we had to do was just open the link and then wait for the host to let us in. If we were supposed to do the ID and passcode, as we would be on the landline, if we've entered through the landline, we'd be asked for, please enter your Zoom ID, and it's a long number, and please enter your passcode, and it's a shorter number, and then we enter the room. So that's a layer of security that you can have switched on or off, and you can either have a personal ID or have a randomly generated one. So I normally skip that. It's just going to keep doing that because my screen is set to just dim automatically. Sorry about that. Right. So the next one is new meeting. So there's various ways of scheduling a meeting. You can have a new meeting and just press enter on it and start that meeting, copy the invitation or copy the link and email it to somebody, and you've got a new meeting, which is fine if you want to do kind of then and there, hop onto a meeting. If you want to schedule a meeting in a more long-term way, so I do work where I have to send links to people for next week, then starting a meeting now, everyone hop on, just will not work. But for impromptu friends, family stuff, it might work.
New meeting. Button.
So I'm not doing that one because it's very easy. I'm doing the more difficult one. And if people want the easier one later, then go for it. Right.
Join.
So
Button.
the next one is join. If I was going to press that, there'd be maybe meetings in my upcoming schedule. And I'd be able to swipe to those. If I was on the computer, I could arrow up and down a list. So, but it's up and down arrow on the computer. It's left and right on the phone. So the next heading after join is schedule. So I'm going to open that and act like I'm going to schedule a meeting that I want to start on Friday. I'll delete it later, but just, you know. So I'm double tapping on schedule. Right.
Button.
So the first button is cancel, which I don't want to do that because I've just opened it.
Schedule meeting.
That's a heading. I can't do anything with that.
Save. Button.
Haven't done anything yet, so I'm not going to save it.
Scheduling settings have been sent from your Zoom.
So my schedule settings have been synced from my computer and all the other devices that I'm on. Very helpful to know. It will say that every time. Who cares about that right now?
Close. Button.
I'm not going to close it. If you press close instead of save, after you've done all the settings, you won't be saving anything.
Meeting topic. Sandra Zoom meeting.
So it's
Text
automatically, that's a text field, Sandra Zoom meeting, and it said double tap to edit that. If I wanted to, I could double tap that, which I'm going to do that now.
Great. Start meeting close. Here's meeting topic. Sandra Zoom meeting.
So I've double tapped on that, and it said it's editing it,
Character mode.
and it's in character mode. And insertion mode at start,
Access misspelled word.
and it's just telling me about the rotor. So I'm just going to, I've got a Bluetooth keyboard as well. I don't use the virtual keyboard on the phone. If you'd like to do that, then that's fine. So I've written in Sandra is testing life. So that is the topic for my fakery Zoom meeting that I've got here.
Clear text.
Right.
Field. Is editing. Sandra is testing live.
Right. So it's in there.
Insertion
So
point
I
text,
am
clear text. Button.
swiping right again to clear text, which I'm not going to do because I've just typed in it.
Start. A day. 20. Button.
So I've got the start heading and it's automatically set to starting today at 8 o'clock. I don't want it to start today. I want it to start on Friday. So I'm going to double tap on start.
A day. Picker item.
Today, picker item. So I can arrow up and down. Obviously, I can't go backwards. So I'm going to go forwards. So by swiping upwards once.
Thursday. January
And I want
18th.
Friday, the 19th.
Friday. January 19th.
And double tapping to accept that.
20th. Friday. 20th.
Well, actually, I'm swiping right
Select
to change the hour.
adjustable.
And
20th.
it's set to 8 o'clock or 20. It's a 24-hour clock. And I'm going to swipe downwards because I want it to start at 1 p.m.
19 of 18, 7, 60, 50, 40, 13 o'clock.
Right.
13 of 20.
Now, if I wanted it to start at 1:15, I can swipe right again to the minutes. And it's set to 00. So
Picker item.
let's say I wanted 15.
minutes. 2 of 6, 30 minutes.
Half an hour,
45
45,
minutes.
and we're back to 00. Okay?
5 of 0
So I'm swiping
audio
left.
Matt Cooper. Friday, January 19th. Picker item.
So I'm just double checking that I've still got that Friday. There's a toolbar and I can press it as done. So that would mean that I finished my settings. But there's also other options on this. So if I wanted the meeting once, which is what it defaults to, as in recurring never, I can leave it like that. But if I wanted it to be every week, let's say I'm meeting somebody for sessions for things. So some of you guys may know I'm an actor, I'm a performer and voiceover, and I also do kind of bereavement counseling and stuff where people need stuff every week. And I don't really want to be setting up a new link every week because you can see how long it takes. So I'm going to swipe left.
United States. Telephone and device
So
audio.
that audio button is set to audio.
Video on.
Participant video is set to off, and I can double tap it to change it to on, and the same with the audio function. So when people come into a Zoom room, the person who created the meeting will have preset these things, whether the video and the microphone and things are automatically set to on or off. So it's not a sort of happy accident that you were unmuted when you came in. TAVIP will have preset that in the meeting.
2001.
And now you know how.
No, to press home to open.
All right, that's just my phone locking
Zoom.
itself.
Schedule meeting. State your start duration. Time group attendee. Enable mute if the toxic group. Enable waiting. Only.
Right, I'm just going back to where I was.
Stop audio participant host video on. With
So
button.
same for the host video and microphone, they're set to on or off. And then that is the beginning of those meeting options. So that heading, I'm going to swipe left again. So only allow authenticated users. That button is currently set to off. If I set it to on, it will put in the safeguards of the ID, the passcode, and all those things. So people coming into this theoretical meeting would have to enter those before being allowed in.
Enable waiting room. Only users.
Enable waiting room is set to on. If I set it off, then people can just come in without being in the waiting room. But it's a layer of security that I like, so I'm leaving it on.
Field. Require meeting passcode. Only users who have the invite.
So require meeting passcode, I've left that. And then that security heading. Swiping left again.
If the option is enable, use personal meeting ID.
Use personal meeting ID. I'm not doing that. Enable continuous meeting chat. That is set to on. At the American Council of the Blind, they have it switched off. So you cannot use chat at all with them because their feeling is it's inaccessible. Now, as we know, it is accessible, but some people are able to use it. Some people don't like it and whatever. So attendees, I mean, I would normally then, when I finish creating the meeting, I would then start the meeting, copy the invitation, set it in a Word document, and then email it separately, because I don't really want clients from different thingies having my personal email address. So that's how I do it. But if you wanted to put your attendees in this and automatically get an email sent to them, then you would open that attendees box and put their email addresses in, either by selecting that from contacts and it's an automatic view, or by just manually typing it in. So left of attendees is repeat, and that's set to never at the moment. If it's set to never, it means that if you were sending links to the same person, you'd have to just keep creating them. And I personally don't want to. I like making my links recur. So I'm opening this.
Every day.
So you can either have every day or every week,
every 2 weeks,
every 2 weeks, every month,
every year,
or every year. So I personally would double tap
every 2 weeks,
every week.
Selected every week.
And then you'd have an end repeat. And so you would then pick the month and the year for those. And they are adjustable like all the other things. So I'm coming out of that. There's a done button, especially for this recurring function. I haven't finished the overall meeting.
Repeat.
So that takes us back. And now it's repeat weekly. And that end repeat button is set to never. And if I was going to change that, I would open it.
Repeat 17. Selected March. Selected.
So it's set to the 17th of March. And I'm going to just leave that as done. And the time zone is set to London. I'm not going to change it. So, and it's also set to an hour, but you can alter that to half an hour. It won't let you do 45 minutes. So it's an hour or a half, right?
January 19th, 2024, 13. Button.
So that just confirms all the settings we did earlier.
Address testing live.
And that's the topic
Text
title.
field. Meeting topic. Close.
We don't want close because it just doesn't save anything. So what we want is save. And I've saved it.
The meeting has been scheduled successfully.
Right, it said the meeting has been scheduled successfully. So that is how to schedule a meeting in a sort of the most complicated recurring way possible. As I said earlier on, you can schedule a sort of impromptu meeting by literally pressing new meeting, start, you're in the meeting, and then you copy the invitation link. So you would tab to more options for participants and then arrow down that list. And in that list is invite, and then within that, it's copy invitation. If you copy invitation, then you have join Zoom meeting and the link and passcode and ID, and then the various dial-in numbers. If it's a paid account, if it's a free account, then you won't have the dial-in numbers option. So anyone on a landline, just make a note of that for yourselves. TAVIP's Zoom is obviously paid, so there's the dial-in option to have. If you press copy invite link, then you just have the link on your clipboard and you can paste that in an email or something. There's no join meeting or any fancy stuff. So that is how to basically start an impromptu one. It's good to be able to do both. I personally think it depends what your work is, what you want to do with it. But I personally think it's a bit more professional to do it the long form, even if it is just a one-off, like Sandra's inviting you to a Zoom meeting scheduled whenever. So that is how to get any questions before I go on to the next topic. Because I appreciate that took a while and there's lots of moving parts. Okay. Right, breakout rooms is the next malarkey. There's no other word for it. I'm not going to teach you how to create them yourself today. That is a whole session on its own. As I said earlier on, I'm going to set up breakout rooms, been a long day, breakout rooms, and we're going to test leaving and entering them. So the breakout room itself will be a very short one. So sorry for the silence, guys. I'm just trying to create breakout rooms at the same time. Peter, how many people have we got?
About 20.
Okay. 20. So I'm going to set up breakout rooms. I'm just making sure that I'm not sent to a breakout room myself. And it's being set to 3 breakout rooms. So there's 2 ways of entering a breakout room. And we're going to try the more difficult one first, because the other one is quite easy. So the more difficult one is when somebody set breakout rooms for a task, chat amongst yourselves, blah, blah, blah. What's the meaning of life? And you've got 3 minutes to do it. and I'm not opening them right now, but in this scenario, I'm opening the breakout rooms, and then on your screen, whether it is a Windows PC, a Mac device, or a smart device, it will say Sandra / whoever is inviting you to join a breakout room, and it will give a number. And then you can tab to join now or not. I've forgotten the other option on it. So you press join now, and then you press enter on that, or double tap it, whatever device you're on, and that will take you into the breakout room. The settings in there for video and mute may not be the same settings as they would be in the main room. And also, breakout rooms are not recorded, whether the main session is being recorded or not. Breakout rooms are never recorded. So just look after yourselves in any break. I'm saying that for this one, as well as any other breakout rooms you end up in different organizations. The breakout room will have a set time on it, and you can shift tab around your sort of mute video and all those things. The keystrokes will still work once you're in the breakout room. The host / facilitator can broadcast messages into it. And when I say broadcast, I really mean they'll type something and your speech program will intone it once you're in there. It won't be them speaking to you, as it were. So you can tab to the different functions that you have in here. And also you can shift tab to the time set on the breakout room. So let's say you have 10 minutes to discuss things and you're not sure how much time you have left, you can just shift tab and it will tell you. And also, the creator of the breakout rooms will have specifically set a time for a countdown, as in 30 seconds before, and it will just pop up. You've got 30 seconds before the breakout room closes, or a minute before the breakout room closes, however long they've decided to do it for. So you can allow it to close automatically, and you'll be taken back to the main room anyway, or you can tab around to leave the room. Now there's leave room and leave meeting. If you leave the meeting, it will take you out of the whole thing and you'll have to come back into Zoom. So you want leave room to take you back to the main Zoom room, meeting, webinar, whatever you're in. So that is the more difficult version. The easy version is if I set up a breakout rooms and you're just automatically thrown into it. Now, if you're on a touch tone phone, that will happen regardless of whether you're given join buttons and things or not. That's what I have found when I've been in these kinds of things. So with just to recap that, if you are on a Windows or Mac device, computer type thingy, you can tab to join now. On a smart device, you swipe and double tap. Okay. So for this version, I'm going to get you guys to accept the join so you can practice doing that. And then we'll come back after a minute or two and then do it again where you're automatically thrown in. So this is a 3-minute session, and I think that's more than long enough to just go in and have fun and then come back out again. And the countdown for this one is automatically set to 15 seconds, and I'm leaving that as it is. So before I open the rooms and let you guys join and everything, has anyone got any questions at all about this?
Will we automatically be unmuted? So, supposing we're thrown into a breakout room, I mean, at the moment everyone else is muted. So,
Yeah.
will we then have to unmute? Do you think, or I've never used a breakout room ever, so I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah, no problem. The answer is I don't know without being in one myself, and I'm not going to go in. But it will tell you once you're in it what state you're in,
Yeah. Okay.
whether you're muted or not. So I will just recap that. To mute is Alt A, or mute and unmute rather. It's a toggle anyway. Alt A on the Windows PC, Command Shift A on a Mac, *6 on a landline. Swipe left, or it's the bottom left-hand corner on a smart device. Okay. Anyone else got anything else before I press open the rooms and you can tab to the join now button? Yeah, you can't find the option because I haven't pressed it yet. Because when I press it, it will appear on the screen and then you'll need to sort of get on with it because it doesn't have a very long shelf life, the join button. Okay, I'm going to take it for granted that no one else has any questions about that. I'm going to press open all rooms and the join function will appear on the screen, and so you tab to join now or swipe right to join now, and have good time for 3 minutes. Here we go. And we're all starting to come back. So how did we find that?
Hi, Sandra.
Hiya, how did you
Hello.
find it?
Yeah, I'm having to hold down the space bar to talk. Otherwise, if I let go of it, you won't hear me.
That's weird. What device are you on?
On a computer. So maybe tab round to unmute. That should work then, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should.
Well, I'll try it.
Mm.
Yeah. Alt A's working.
Yeah.
Good.
You don't need to leave the breakout room, do you? Automatically.
Yeah, it automatically brings you back, but like if you wanted to leave earlier, so I mean, I gave you 3 minutes, which wasn't really that much time because I wanted you to practice kind of coming and going and things. But if you had a half-hour session in a breakout room and stuff got heated and you just wanted to leave,
Yeah.
then you could, yeah.
What?
Well,
How? There's a button for that.
There
Okay.
is.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying earlier on with there are a couple of buttons. There's leave room and there's leave meeting.
Yeah.
And you want to just leave the breakout room rather than leaving the whole
Not
meeting.
leaving the whole meeting. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, yeah, right. I've managed to unmute myself without holding a flicking space bar.
Bill, we can always hear you, my good friend.
Oh, hello. Hello, Jeff. Sandra, you're doing a grand job. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you. There's been all these silency things, and I'm just like, does that mean people understand everything, or they're just falling asleep now?
No.
We wouldn't
Could
dare.
somebody
We
mention
wouldn't
how
dare.
Dave can join? Dave can join TAVIP, please. What's the procedure?
Just go onto the website, basically, and follow the links.
Oh, okay. And it was it tavip.co.uk, is it? Or what is it?
.org, I thought it was.
www.tavip.org.uk.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Mm.
It's engraved in my brain.
Dave Derber wants to join. He's on this meeting, but he's not got a microphone, so he can't talk to you for the minute. But he's listening.
And he's very welcome to join TAVIP.
Also, Phil, if the guy has any problems, he can email info@tavip.org.uk.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Peter. Yeah.
And then we'll sort you out.
Yeah.
Okay, Pete, you okay?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
Right. So, does anyone feel they need another go at that, or was that enough?
That was fine.
That was fine.
Yeah, worked really well.
Good. Okay. For flying, I'm very impressed. So screen sharing. I'm just going to come out of breakout rooms now because I don't need to be in it. So screen sharing. Don't know how many of you want to play with it yourselves. I'm just going to check that it's enabled. Okay, yeah, it is. I was on a Zoom meeting earlier on where I was sharing screen and they hadn't turned that on. So if for some reason you press the keystroke, which is Alt S on the computer, I'm still not sure about how to do this on an iPhone/Android. Actually, I forgot to say whether I'm allowed to say device names, but I already did that when I
Yeah,
was
of
doing the
course. Yeah.
scheduling. I've kind of already
Yeah.
that ship has sailed. Anyway, not sure how to do this on a smart device, and I haven't actually seen the function. That doesn't mean it isn't there. It might be buried in more options or reactions or something. But on the computer, it's Alt S or Command Shift S. On a touch tone phone, obviously you can't share the screen because there isn't one. So that is the keystroke to start the proceedings. There's a list of things in there, but I just want to say that if you press it and it says something along the lines of the host has not allowed participants to share screen, which can happen, then you need to ask the host to enable that. And they may not know how to do it, okay? Especially the sighted fraternity. I do not wish to speak ill of the sighted, but a lot of the time they do not know what they are doing. And because they can see the functions, it's easier for them to work it out on the fly. So to talk a sighted person or anyone through how to do it, ask them to go to the security settings. Now, if it's somebody like us, then you can ask them to tab to it. And then arrow down. You don't need to activate something. You're automatically in it if you just press down arrow in the security settings. And then arrow down to, quote unquote, allow participants to share screen. And then you need to press enter on that. Even spacebar will do the job, but enter is better. Now, if it's a sighted person, then double click or something. And then everyone will be allowed to share their screen. So I'm assuming, well, I'm not assuming, I just checked it and I can share my screen in this session. So I'm going to test this by just
yes.
sharing a bit of music. Now, in some organizations, like the American Council of the Blind and maybe some other ones, they insist that when you're sharing recordings, your speech program needs to be switched off to do it. So you press, I don't know, Alt S and do your settings, which I'm going to talk you through in a moment. And then you would press if it's JAWS, your layered command to silence speech. And I've forgotten what NVDA is. But I never do that, okay? And I use my speech program as a kind of test run, as in, can you hear that? Okay, I know my screen is shared, even though I know it is anyway, because I know what I'm doing. But I'm just like, see, I need it to do the sound check. So, testing all tests. Now you can't hear any of this yet because I'm not sharing my screen yet, but select the window that you want to share. I always have to remind sighted people to share sound because they hardly ever, they just press share screen. Can you hear this? And like, no, I can't. Can you go back out again, go in and press share sound? I repeat, sighted people need hand holding all the way with all these things. Okay. I pressed tab once and it said select this option if you want others to hear sounds from your computer as well as seeing your screen. So at the moment it says checkbox not checked. I want it checked. So I'm pressing spacebar to check it. Now it says checked. Select sharing sound mode is a menu button, which is the next tab. I'm doing nothing with that. It may or may not be something to do with, if you've got multiple sound cards and things and which one you want the noises to come out of. I'm using the computer on board system at the moment. In my own Zoom account, which is another reason to have a Zoom account, even if you're just a participant, and there are free accounts and all of that. But another something or other setting is that if you have got multiple sound cards and you want Zoom to come out of one and default to a specific one, is you can set that in your Zoom account settings. But we're not going to play with that and share screen today. We're literally just sharing in a very basic way. optimize screen sharing with viewing video clips. I'm leaving that unchecked because I'm not sharing video. Even if I share video, I don't really bother. And then optimize video clip, learn more button. I don't really want to learn more, so I'm going past it. So share screen. When I press this, you will hear everything coming out of my gadget. Okay, pressing it now. And I haven't slowed my speech program down because you don't really need it. You're just going to hear the media I'm going to share. So you've pressed share and press F6 to change screens. And it's telling me that participants can now see my screen blurred, which I already knew that. So I'm alt-tabbing to the media I have open in order to play it. So if you're sharing screen, I mean, maybe not today because we're just playing with it, but if you are presenting at all or doing things and want to seem like a professional human being, then you will have your media preset, as I've now done, so that when you press Alt-Tab once, you are in the item you want to be in, rather than fumbling and bumbling around like lots of people I have come across. And that is not unique to the disability fraternity. All do it. Oh, where am I? Oh my God, that's not going to be any of you. Right. I've just done that because I didn't have it open. Right, really, practice what you preach. Anyway. Didn't work. That worked.
Oh, I see. Very good.
Right, that's enough of that. Screen sharing meeting controls. I'm back in it. I'm pressing Alt S and my screen will stop sharing now. So my screen share has been closed. It told me that, and you couldn't hear that because it stopped sharing it. So, anyone want to have a go at that?
Except mine is saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not brave enough.
no problem. What's your name? Sorry, the person who said they wanted to.
It's Phil here.
No, there's a female person who said they would like to share.
Okay.
It was me, but I don't have any sound. It's Mitra.
Okay.
I don't have any
right.
sound to share.
Okay.
What
I mean, you could just share your speech program or something, just so you could practice. I don't know, sharing the functions.
All right.
Mitra,
yes.
You've got your JAWS sound to share, so you will be able
yes,
to do
that's
that.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall I do it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Well done.
Oh God. Oh, I'm not getting there.
So did you press Alt S?
Yes, I did actually, but
and then pressing Tab to share sound.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine's not.
It says return to meeting, but I don't know why.
I think.
So
I've done Alt S before, but this time in the Zoom, it seems to take me around. I am in the Zoom. I don't know why it's doing this.
I think it may be because you have to press the return to meeting. That happened to me after the breakout room. I had I wasn't in the usual window.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
Oh right, okay. Oh, I see. No, I am in Zoom meeting. It says.
What's that? Refresh.
I am in Zoom meeting.
So if you tab, what are you hearing?
It says Zoom meeting.
It says that the host has disabled screen sharing.
Shouldn't have.
Oh, because it was working before. Maybe that's because Sandra was the co-host.
It is working. It is working. I just pressed it and then unpressed it. So it is working.
Yeah. You're the co-host, Sandra, aren't you? So you will be able to do that.
Oh, okay. Right.
So am I sharing my screen? I don't think I am.
It did say Mitra has started sharing your screen. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, now. Did it?
Yeah.
Oh. No, I don't know. It's not doing anything.
Audio now unmuted.
Oh gosh.
That's okay.
Who was that?
It's a smoke. Hello.
Right, I've allowed participants to share screen. It was unchecked. Right, it's done.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I am on. I did Alt S, and it says a host has disabled you. So how do I go
I've
about?
just changed the setting just now in security,
Okay.
so it should work now.
So is that why I couldn't do it?
I think so.
Oh, right. Okay.
I
So it
thought
wasn't.
everyone could do it because I could just do it. But
No. Okay. Okay. Sure.
right,
That's fine
I've
then.
changed the setting now, so
Okay.
it's all good.
Okay,
Alright.
I'm gonna try it then, Sandra. Yeah.
I think Mitra was first,
Okay.
so she was already doing that. Go for it, Mitra. The floor is yours.
Right. So
there it is.
did I try it or not?
Where did I get that?
Yeah, just wait for a sec, Phil, because Mitra was going to try it first.
All right, enough.
Oh gosh, I did so much, so I can't. I don't know what I've done.
Working.
Okay.
Press Alt S. Yeah.
Is that
There we go.
okay? Right.
Yeah.
Can you hear that as well?
It said you were sharing, Mitra, so.
It did. You know when you shared, did you press share sound?
Yes, I did actually.
Okay.
I think you can't hear that.
There was a checkbox, wasn't there?
There is, yeah. And then so you press space on that.
Okay. Can you hear my jaws?
No, not just yet.
No, you can't hear jaws.
No, not just yet.
Oh dear. Oh, maybe I didn't press. I thought I pressed on sound. I
Did
pressed
you
center.
check? Did you check sound though, Mitra? Because it.
Oh, you have to check the
Yeah,
button.
yeah,
You do.
Oh, all right.
yeah.
I didn't. I just press enter on it, so that's not good enough. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So
I had my go.
if you press Alt S again, it will stop the share.
Okay,
And
sure.
then press Alt S and then tab to share sound.
Yeah.
And then press
Okay.
space bar on that. And then
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Oh, that was quite good.
Okay. There is also a screen sharing control. What's that?
And don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
No.
Okay. So I stopped that.
Okay, and then press Alt S again.
Okay.
And then tab to share sound and press space bar on that so that it's checked. Its default setting is unchecked.
Oh, for good. Oh, return. Yeah, I haven't returned to the meeting. Oh God, I don't know. Okay. Oh God, I'm getting very confused. This is F6 to what's that? Ah, I'm in Zoom now, so
Okay.
okay.
Press Alt S.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. It's doing the same thing as before. I am in Zoom, so let's do Alt S. Oh, it's not doing anything.
Mitra,
Oh, I don't know.
I think you're in
Mitra.
search and all sorts of things.
Yeah, I
Mitra.
don't know where I am. Yeah, sorry.
You need to be in the window that's called Zoom meeting.
That's I thought where I am.
Yeah.
I've got Jaws and I've got Zoom.
Okay.
I've only got two things, and with the screen control, whatever it is. I'm in
if,
Zoom.
If you press F6 when you're in Zoom,
Yes.
try that and see if it takes you to a different window.
No.
No.
No. There's nothing else. So I'm back to Zoom.
Try pressing Alt S.
No, hold on. It says screen sharing.
Oh, so you're already in that. So
I am already in there. Yes. Okay.
So tab
but
to...
it took its time to appear.
Okay. So tab to the sound sharing, share sound, and then make sure that
yes, hold on.
Make sure it's checked.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm taking too much room here. Maybe somebody else wants to have a go. I can't get there somehow. I don't know why.
I don't mind having a go if you want.
Yeah, do have. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so press Alt S to come out of the screen
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah,
meet
sure.
share.
So can
Might
you
be
get
time for you
only
It
to
one
type
stopped
person,
now. Yeah.
Can you get only one person sharing at a time then, Sandra?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you could imagine it was.
Yeah, it would be really.
So shall I try pressing Alt S then and see what happens?
Okay, press Alt S.
Here we go then. Right, select a window.
Then tab.
Right, I've done that. Select sound and then press space.
Spacebar to check that sound is being shared.
Right, so now I'm going to press the JAWS key. Did you hear that?
Well, you
Yes.
haven't pressed share yet. I can just hear it in general. I can't hear it come through my. So you need to have a couple of times to get to share screen.
What, and then press spacebar.
Yeah.
Right, I've done that.
Or enter.
Right, okay. So now can you hear the JAWS now? PC cursor? No?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear it, but not as if it was being shared, if that makes sense. I
Oh,
can just hear it because you haven't got any headphones on.
yeah. Well, I have got headphones on, but they're quite loud. Hang on. Let's see why it's not. Share screen
Yeah,
button.
that's it. That's what you want.
So spacebar, yeah?
Or enter. Enter's probably a bit more secure.
Okay, hang on. Right, did you hear the PC cursor then? No?
Yeah, but I'm still hearing it as if I'm just hearing
hang
it
on.
in
Let's try
general.
enter then. Hang on.
Yeah,
Hang on.
that's it.
Oh, now it's done it. Yeah.
You can hear JAWS now.
No, we can't hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear JAWS now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. we can.
Oh, cool. Okay, so to get out of it now, I just do Alt S again then, right?
Alt S.
That's
yeah.
it.
Right, okay, I'm coming out then. I won't bore you all. Oh, is it
So,
stopped?
yeah, it has. It said Filtrol has stopped screen share alert.
Cool. Oh, this is fun.
I know.
But I have done Zoom share before,
Yeah.
but this is the first time it seems to take me all sorts of places. I don't know why, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
Zoom can be
It is quirky.
annoying.
Sometimes
Yeah.
things go wrong.
If you want quirky, then try Teams. It's abominable.
Yeah.
I spent 3/4 of an hour once trying to unmute myself because the got it button just wouldn't come up. And that was
with the got it button, if it's not on the screen, press F6
yeah, I'll have to try and remember
until it comes up. So you might have to press F6 more than once in order to find it, and then it will be there.
Select a window or an application
that at a time because I wasted 3/4 of an hour. I wasted 3/4 of an hour trying to get
Excuse me, Sandra.
drive me nuts.
Yes.
I'm going to try and share my screen. Is that
Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Thank
Press
you.
Alt
Select
S.
sharing sound mode button menu. Press space to activate the menu. Then navigate with arrow keys. Optimize for video clip checkbox. Select sharing sound mode button menu. Press space to
So
activate the
press
menu.
press
Then
Shift
navigate
Tab
with
for
arrow
that
keys.
one.
So-
Shift Tab. But you're on sound mode. Press Shift Tab once.
Share sound checkbox not checked.
So press check.
Heck yeah.
Space bar on that.
Okay, and now share screen. I need to go to which screen I share.
No, just press Tab until you hear the share screen button, and press Enter on that.
Select sharing sound mode button. Optimize for share screen button to activate.
Press Enter.
Menu. P toolbar parent WND.
Am I?
Yeah, you're sharing.
Oh, okay.
Screen sharing meeting controls. Participants can now see your screen.
And they can hear me as well.
Yes.
Okay, right. Thank you. That was brilliant.
Cool.
That was good.
So what is this screen sharing control? What is that?
It's basically the tab for doing the screen sharing. So when you are sharing your screen, Hazmat, you can stop sharing your screen now unless you wanted to share something specific. So just press Alt S again, Hazmat, and then your screen share will be stopped.
Sure.
So Sandra,
yeah.
when we go
but because I'm using a sound mixer into the line in,
Robin Davies has left the meeting.
I don't have to share because the sound mixer can play whatever I want anyway.
Okay, good for you.
Sandra,
Yeah,
I just
yes.
want to ask one thing. You know,
Yeah.
when we access Zoom meeting,
Yeah.
sometimes why can't I go? I don't get participant, list. It gives me artificial intelligence link
Oh
and
gosh,
all
yeah.
the others, but not participant. So I don't.
Participants list is Alt U. That's how to get that. If you're on a smart device, then you swipe right to
No, on the
participants and double tap.
computer, Alt U, or on the
Yes,
PC.
yes.
Okay.
Alt U, and
Okay.
it's an arrow. It's a list view, and you arrow up and down it.
Before it, when you tap down, it used to say participant list, and then you enter, and then it will tell you number of participants. And if you want to check who is there, you could do that. But some reason,
I'm not sure you can tab to it anymore. I think it's keystroke
Oh,
only.
okay, all right.
On a smart device, you can swipe to it.
Okay.
But yeah,
all
I haven't
right.
seen it on the main screen for a
But
while.
that
Yeah, I
is
didn't even think of
useful.
that. It's Alt U.
Okay, that's useful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem. Have you stopped sharing your screen?
Oh, right there. Stop sharing.
Alt
screen.
S, yeah.
Alt S again. Okay.
Alt screen share has been stopped.
Okay, so
That's-
screen share has been stopped. I've forgotten who was asking about Zoom meeting control. I think Mitra, you were asking about Zoom meeting control.
Yes.
So when you're sharing your screen, Zoom will often kind of split into two tabs. So you've got the meeting and you've got the share meeting control.
Mm.
So that if when you finish your playing your media or whatever it is you're playing, then you would alt tab back to that and then press Alt S and stop screen share. I mean, it should work whether you were in meeting control or Zoom meeting anyway. But sometimes it will kind of split off, and that's basically what that is. So once you started screen sharing, it creates its own sort of tab.
So, but is it accessible by Jules?
Yeah, because I just done it.
Yeah,
You just done it through there. Yeah.
I'm using Jaws.
No. That screen control.
We're talking about the Zoom meeting control. There,
Oh.
as far as I know, there isn't really anything in it that you haven't already done.
Anyway,
yeah. So once you've set up the share, you don't really need to do anything to it.
No. So.
If you wanted to do anything to it, you'd stop the share and then start another one.
So.
Rather than trying to alter
Yeah.
a share that's already in progress. But in theory, you could from that. But it's safer to just stop it and start it again.
Do others. Yeah. So thanks.
No problem. Anyone else got any questions about screen share? Or we do something else?
Brilliant.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so there's only a couple of other things left on the shopping list of things people wanted answered in this session. So the last two things are the theory of answering a poll and interruptions from the chat. We've already covered that pretty much. So the theory of answering a poll, just because I can't really do a poll, I'm more likely to get them webinars than Zoom meetings anyway. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're a faff. They are doable. It's just fiddly. And because organizers will put up the questions and won't leave you very much time, you do need to be quite nimble in answering them. If you don't feel like answering it, you can literally just exit, but then your opinion won't be counted if they say, well, 50% of you love Bake Off or something. So how it works is, regardless of which device you're on, and I've never tried this on a touch tone phone, so I have no idea if it even will allow you to do these things on there. But if you're on a smart device, you will swipe through the options, and on a computer, you either arrow or tab depending on the situation. But they tend to be kind of 2 to 5 questions. So when you have answered one question, then the next question will appear. There might be a gap between
left the meeting.
Wow. Obviously doesn't want to hear about polls. So let's say you're on question 1. It'll say something like, I don't know, do you like the new presenters of Bake Off? I don't know why I keep going on about Bake Off, but it's just easier. and you can rate things. So it's a poll. So how many out of 5 you rate something for. So you would swipe through or arrow up and down the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it might be 10 if you're really lucky and you have to swipe through all kinds of things. And you press enter on or double tap on that number. That will then take you to the next question, and you will read the question and then arrow through the different numbers to select your rating for that question, on and on until you get to the end. And as I say, they don't have a long shelf life because there's somebody at the other end going, oh, okay, we'll tap that. Right, we'll close the poll now. And you need to, after you finished answering the questions, then submit your answers. So that is another thing to press enter on. So as I say, they're a faff. That's all I can say about them. But they're worth doing if you are in a session with a poll.
Sandra?
Yes.
Yeah. What about if you're in a meeting and you just want to do a vote, those in favour, those against? How does that work?
Sometimes they will send something a little bit like a poll, like so I've been in these kind of, AGM kind of things where you are sent yes, no, abstain. And so you swipe to yes and no, or arrow up and down it if you're on the computer, and then press enter on whatever it is. And you may or may not need to submit. That may just be your submit. And other organizations, they'll do it slightly differently, and it won't be done as a poll. It'll be like raise hands if you agree to whatever it is. And then they lower your hand or you lower your own hand, but they will tell you, and then write those in favor, raise your hand, as in Alt Y or options Y or *9.
And when you've done Alt Y, do you then have to do Alt Y again to lower your hand, or does it automatically go?
No, it doesn't automatically anything. So either somebody at the other end will lower all hands, or you'll be asked to lower your hand.
Oh, okay.
Which is Alt Y because it's a toggle function, like we said.
Yeah, thanks very much.
No problem. So that is the end of the wish list of things that was asked for. So anyone got any questions about anything that we've covered this evening? I know there was a lot.
Yes, it's Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Is there a list anywhere of these controls? Because I can't remember everything you've said tonight. Like the alts, U for seeing the participants.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that there is a list of these controls?
I've got a list, I think.
Peter and Jeff helped me out here. Didn't we do? We did a list of keystrokes last time.
I didn't see the last night. I believe that's available to watch again, though, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a list in text form that was sent to TAVIP somewhere.
Yeah, I only joined TAVIP yesterday, so I'm quite new to all this. So
cool.
It's the sort of thing which we want to have on the website. And Julian, who is here, maybe I don't know if you can remember whether we've got it yet, but if we haven't, then it's something that we'll actually make sure that we do put on the website.
Yeah, because I did send it through. I did a list of things, and was told it would be posted for people to read whenever they wanted to.
Well, I'll make sure that
that is.
I'll make sure that happens. I'm not sure either, but I'll make sure it happens.
If you go into the Zoom folder, I think there might be a list already in there.
Yes, I think there's an accessibility thing in the Zoom, and it gives you the list. Yes,
the list in there. If you go to the Zoom folder on your computer, you don't have to be online or anything. You can just go into it, the Zoom folder, and then come down the list until it says Zoom keys or whatever, and click on it, and then it should tell you the whole lot.
Okay,
that's
brilliant.
very helpful.
Thank you.
Oh, I did not know that.
No.
That's on mine anyway.
Cool.
No, in the menu on the Zoom, if you come down under help, I think there's an accessibility stuff there.
Okay.
Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra,
yes.
it's Ian.
Yes. Hi, Ian.
Yeah, I'm on a Mac at the moment, but I was in the settings earlier today.
Yeah.
And there's a section for keyboard.
Okay, thank you.
In the settings.
Oh,
and it has the table there of all the keyboard shortcuts.
I have this great idea that I'll remember everything, but in reality, I won't.
Yeah.
None of us do.
Oh, I don't remember any of them. I just have said them so many times that it just kind of rolls off now.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
The problem is that I've done sort of lots of Zoom calls now, but I always use it on an iPad. But I'm beginning to think that using a Bluetooth keyboard with it would be a lot easier. So
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially if you're having to write things.
yes,
I'm just no good at the virtual keyboard. Even with speed dots, I was abominable. So that's why I use a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah.
So-
I think that's what I'll have to start having a go at. I think.
Yeah.
And
Sandra,
display, you can use Braille display like Focus 40 or whatever. You can connect that, so you can use the keyboard on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, you do need to make sure that the Braille settings are enabled on the device. Mitra.
Yes, sorry. I just wanted to quickly ask. I think Gary answered when in the chat. If you send a direct message to someone and you just wanted to only see the direct messages, how do you do that? Is there a way of filtering? Because if there was many people, you just wanted to see your direct messages. You don't want to read everything.
I've never tried that.
Oh, you haven't. Okay. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I think Gary said control 1 to 9. Is that right, Gary?
Yeah, you can press if you're using JAWS, that is, Mitra. If you can press Control 1 through to 9.
So what
JAWS will
that
read out.
gives the last 9 messages.
It's
but
the last 9 things that JAWS says.
Right. It's
Okay.
not your necessarily your direct
No,
messages.
not necessarily. The other way you can do that is to go into the chat area, tab around until you come to the chat list. It says chat list, and you'd have to arrow up and down. There's no way of filtering the messages from certain people.
Okay. So how do you get to the chat list? How do you?
So if you go into Alt H, go to chat.
Yeah.
Tab. I think it's about 4 times, and it will say chat list.
Oh, okay. If you tab around, okay.
Yeah, as you tab around, then you can arrow up and down the list.
Okay. So thank you.
If you got 500 participants, good luck.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's it. That's what I was thinking. That's why I wanted to filter. Yes.
Yeah. There's no way, as far as I know.
There's
anyway.
No. Okay.
Yeah, you literally have to be on top of it.
Well,
you know,
the reason. Yeah, but for the reason that you mentioned last time, it's not possible to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
too much.
It is a trial. Definitely when you're in a session that is that big. And especially when, I mean, I've been in sessions where it's even 50 people and they're like, share in the chat this and that, and they're just on and on and on talking about the weather when the facilitator is talking about something
else,
and just kind of talking over it, which is profoundly irritating to us. Now, one way of reducing the noise is, I mean, I don't know if you guys have the ducking function turned on. I've forgotten it in NVDA, but in JAWS, it's a layered command, insert space, then D as in duck. And it can, if it's set to on, then every time JAWS speaks, the volume of everything else gets turned down, which is very useful if you're in a website and it just starts playing and then you can't hear the functions. But in a Zoom setting where you've got the chat and then you've got people saying meaningful things and then you've got the chat of I'm in Wiltshire over at the top of it, then you might want to switch that ducking function set to off so that JAWS isn't louder than the human speech. It won't get rid of the problem, but it will reduce it a little bit. Obviously, if you like the ducking feature, I mean, I like it, so just remember to turn it back on when you're out of the Zoom meeting.
How about the layered function with the volume and J for JAWS? Would that do the same thing?
Insert space S mutes JAWS.
No. Insert space V for Victor, and then J for JAWS, and then you can go up and down to turn the volume up and down.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that will help turn the volume of JAWS up and down. But what I was talking about was the ducking feature, which turns it up and down in relation to the other things going on.
Oh, I see. Right.
So turning it up and down may or may not help if the media is turned down in order to give JAWS the main focus. That's what the ducking feature does, so that JAWS is louder than everything else. So it doesn't really matter how loud JAWS is. Everything else gets turned down for the sake of it. That's what that ducking feature is. The turning the volume of it up and down in all of itself is something else which you can always play with. Just experiment. Phil.
So, yeah, so if you're lucky enough to have a braille display, you can do insert space S to mute the JAWS sound, and then you could turn on the messages, and then you could read them on the braille display while you're listening independently, to what people are saying, and that wouldn't interfere then. You with me?
I am with you. I'm just trying to work out whether muting speech turns the braille settings off or on.
No, no. Insert space S turns off the sound, JAWS sound, but it doesn't mute the braille display. So you can go up on your braille display, and that's what I do all the time when I'm doing my radio shows. I mute the speech, and then I can use the keyboard to type in the name of a track or whatever, and I can read my braille display to make sure I'm on the right place before I press enter.
Great. Well, if you've got a braille display hooked up to your computer/smart device, then
it's cool.
Wonderful.
It's worth having one if you can read braille. I mean, I wouldn't do without mine.
Yeah,
I've got Focus 40.
Yeah, they're not exactly the price of a pair of socks. So
no, they're not. This is true to say.
So if you are able to get one,
I bet I've got a cheapo one. If you can't afford Focus 40 or Focus 14, there's the one that you can get from RNIB. I don't know what it's called, but it's a lot cheaper, isn't it? Jeff will know what I'm talking about.
The Orbit.
Yeah.
I think you mean.
Yeah, the Orbit. Yeah, that's a lot cheaper, isn't it?
Sandra, what is that command for the docking? Please, can you repeat that?
The JAWS.
Yes.
Insert space.
Yes.
Which is the first layer.
Yeah.
And then D.
Yeah.
As in duck.
Okay.
So then you'll hear whether it's set to on or off, and it's basically a toggle function.
Okay, so thank you.
And again, that will if it's set to on, then JAWS will appear louder than any other audio, regardless of how loud or quiet JAWS is. As in that volume thing you were talking about earlier, that's something else.
So
is that a toggle?
If it's set to off, then JAWS will either be the same volume as media or maybe a bit quieter than other media.
So I have to try that.
Well, thank you, because I've just
thank you very much.
I didn't even know what the ducking was for.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you.
Sandra?
Yes.
In the settings again, there's a section for accessibility. And I haven't experimented with this, but when you look at in that section, there's a load of stuff that can be turned on or off, and it seems like it's the stuff that will or won't be sent to JAWS and VoiceOver.
That's correct.
It's announcement of who joins and who leaves a meeting.
Yeah.
So you can turn all this stuff off, can't you?
I like to leave that on, but yeah, you can turn those off. Not 100% certain about the chat, and to be honest, if somebody is writing to you, then you wouldn't know.
From David Colby to everyone, thank you, Sandra, very useful.
You're welcome. No people use the emoticons anymore. I like them. They're very accessible. What was I saying? Yeah. So there's pros and cons to those kinds of things. Turning the settings off, then you might miss something that is pertaining to you. So then you'd have to then Uber check things in case someone has written to you, or in case of this and that. And if it's a massive session, again, you're kind of a bit stuffed, aren't you? But experiment with it,
Sorry?
I said experiment. I'm very impressed with the level of exploration in the room. Try and have a go.
I think we all spent too much time on Zoom during lockdowns.
Yeah.
Say that again. Oh dear. Yeah. That's when I learned to use it. I'd never even heard of it before then.
Snap.
Yeah, no, nobody heard. Yes.
I've travelled all around the world on Zoom. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I live in Surrey and I've been to
Yeah.
New York and all sorts.
Yeah. And at the time, I didn't have a mic, so they all had to put up with my jaws in the background.
Well, I do a lot of
Hope you
talks
didn't
with
bite
guide
them then.
and so yeah, I went. My husband said one day, "That's Abu Dhabi in Wales. It's not Abu Dhabi," but he was wrong. It was Abu Dhabi.
Button to activate. Press space bar. Gary 80 has left the meeting.
So, anyone else got any questions before we wrap this up?
Thank you very much.
No, it was brilliant.
You're welcome.
That was brilliant. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sandra. It was really
Yeah,
great.
yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Very, very useful.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. And the basic keystrokes, TAVIP already has the basic keystrokes. I wrote them down for TAVIP in 2023. That feels like a lot more years ago saying that. And also there's an accessibility table in Zoom itself.
Yeah, we'll check that. We'll check that goes on the website if it isn't already there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Meeting tools. Chat pad.
Okay.
Yes.
Leave meeting button.
Thank you.
Oh, right. You're welcome.
Okay.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
Yeah, you too, Sandra.
Okay.
We're going to leave it now. We're going to quit now. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.